Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are the Lions.
The Indians lost a tough one Friday night, and it happened in a matter of minutes in the 8th inning. Yesterday, there was no baseball, so in honor of the late, great Ernie Banks, we'll play 2. Trevor Bauer has been a beast on the road this season, and he'll match up with Ubaldo Jimenez next on Sports Time Ohio. After a total washout yesterday, the weatherman says no chance of rain in the forecast today. A beautiful afternoon to play 2, so it's a day-night doubleheader between the Cleveland Indians and the Baltimore Orioles here just off Baltimore's Inner Harbor. Hi again, everyone. Matt Underwood alongside Rick Manning. So the Tribe lost the opener to Baltimore in this series, but they are in for a tough stretch of baseball leading into the All-Star break. And as you take a look at the upcoming schedule, Rick, you'll note that 4 of the 5 teams all have winning records. Only Oakland is below 500 of these teams, and a combined winning percentage of .531.
You know, it never seems to get any easier, but how you look at it, you try and win the series 2 out of 3. So if they want to do that, they're going to have to win the doubleheader today against Baltimore. Then you go on to for 4 games in Tampa. You end this road trip up in Pittsburgh. They've been playing very well. They're going to have to start scoring runs and play solid baseball if they want to go into that break on a positive note.
Well, the Indians have been a better team on the road than at home this year. And one guy who is at least partly responsible for their road success is Trevor Bauer, who's sporting a Hall of Fame earned run average on the road this year.
Well, he has been lights out. You know, coming into this year, he was having a tough time winning on the road, but certainly he has turned it around, an ERA of just over 1 on the road. He gives you a chance to win every single time out. He matches you up there with a fastball, a good curveball, a changeup, and also a slider. You can see 4-1 and a 110 on the road. Ubaldo Jimenez, though, on the other hand, has pitched very well at home this year. He is 4-1 at 248. But you know what you're going to get with Ubaldo. He's going to throw a lot of pitches. He's going to be around the 5-inning mark at 100 pitches.
And just a reminder to our viewers, not a traditional doubleheader today. Game 2 will start at 7 p.m. Eastern, but we'll have both games for you today right here on Sports Time Ohio. We're coming back with today's first pitch between the Tribe and the O's right after this. Cleveland Indians baseball is brought to you by WB Mason, the official office supplier of the Cleveland Indians. By McDonald's, I'm loving it. By your local Toyota dealers. Visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. And by the injury lawyers at Elk & Elk, proud sponsors of the Cleveland Indians. Call 1-800-ELK, Ohio. was a back-and-forth affair in the series opener Friday night. Washed out yesterday, and now a day-night doubleheader here this afternoon. Let's get a look at Terry Francona's starting lineup, brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Jason Kipnis, riding a 20-game hit streak, will lead it off. Then it's Francisco Lindor, followed by Michael Brantley. Murphy, Santana, Moss in the middle. Then it's Gomes, Bourne, and Urshela to round it out.
Well, the Northern Ohio Honda deal a starting pitcher is Ubaldo Jimenez, who is 6-3 this year with a .340 earned run average in his career. 0-2 against the Tribe in 3 career starts. He did start against them earlier this year, had a no decision, and he's coming off 3 straight wins. He's on a 3-game winning streak right now.
First pitch of the game in there for a called strike. Kipnis takes again, and it's 0-2.
He's going to have a talk with Larry Vanover. He didn't think, he thought that pitch might have been inside.
Ubaldo with a 2-strike offering, and he bounces it. Jason leading the American League with 100 hits on the year. Fritz Fielder right behind him with 99. Then Miguel Cabrera with 92. Kipnis also leads the league with 24 doubles. He's second to Miguel Cabrera in batting average. Sales high, it's 2-2. And a ground ball tapped up the first baseline. That'll trickle foul. Indians begin the day in 4th place in the American League Central Division, a season high 10.5 games out of first. The Royals have won 3 straight and are 15 games over 500. They lead second place Minnesota by 4.5 in the division. 2-2. Swung on and missed. 1 down to start the game.
Let's check out the Orioles defense, brought to you by Chrysler. It's going to be Pearson left. It'll be Jones back at center field. Davis is over and right. Machado at third. Hardy is at short. Flaherty at second. Parmalee at first, with Joseph doing the catching. Ranked second in the league in defense, 34 errors.
Larry Vanover calling the balls and strikes. He's the crew chief. Francisco Lindor takes a called strike. The switch hitter went 2 for 5 on Friday night. Upstairs, 1 ball, 1 strike. Baltimore 3rd place in the AL East, but only a game and a half behind front-running Tampa Bay. Yankees in 2nd place, a half game out of first.
Well, they've been on a pretty good roll, 16 out of their last 21, and they're starting to feel it around here. They're getting Adam Jones back, who has missed a few games. They waited long enough. They were either going to put him on the DL or bring him back, and he's starting today.
The 1-2 is banged towards third, and Machado throws him out 2 away. Keys to the game are brought to you by Wayside Furniture. Make Ubaldo Jimenez find the strike zone, which he has done effectively here at the outset. And for Trevor Bauer, he's been very good on the road. Hopefully that continues here today. Michael Brantley stands in. Brantley was 1 for 5 on Friday night.
Well, he's coming out throwing first pitch strikes. A lot of times you see him battle his mechanics early in a ball game.
Low, right at the bottom of the strike zone, says Larry Vanover. Not sure Brantley was convinced. And so 0-2.
Well, check it out on our Nissan pitch tracker. If he's going to be consistent with that all day, that's Okay, you're going to be in pitcher strike zone.
And now the 0-2. Another bouncer in front of the plate. Baltimore, with a win today, would give them 5,000 wins in Orioles franchise history since they moved to Baltimore in 1954. Buck Showalter also moving up the all-time win list as a manager. 1,298 career victories. Brantley rolls one to second. And Flaherty throws it out. The Indians go in order. Baltimore coming to bat. Let's take a look at Buck Showalter's starting lineup for Baltimore, brought to you by Toyota. Manny Machado will lead it off. Jimmy Paredes, the DH, had 3 hits, including a pair of doubles in the series opener. He'll bat second. Then it's Adam Jones back in the lineup. Chris Davis, Steve Pearce, and Chris Parmalee occupy the middle third. Then it's J.J. Hardy, Ryan Flaherty, and Caleb Joseph.
And Trevor Bauer is our Northern Ohio Honda dealer starting pitcher this afternoon. Bauer on the year, 6-4. And we've talked about how well he's pitched this year on the road, 4-1 and an ERA of 1.10. He did pitch against Baltimore one time. It was last year. It was here, and the Orioles defeated Bauer and the Indians 4-2, May 25th. So in his career, 0-1. He'll get another crack at him this afternoon.
Manny Machado, riding an 8-game hitting streak to lead it off, takes a fastball for strike one.
Bauer coming off his shortest start of the year in his last start against the Tigers, where he gave up a career high 9 hits and 7 runs.
Pops it up right on the infield. Santana is under it, calling for it, and makes the catch. One away.
Now we can set that defense for you. Brought to you by Chrysler. It looks like this. Brantley is in left, Bourne in center, Murphy over in right, Urshela at third, Lindor at short, Kipnis at second, Santana at first, Gomes doing the catching. You know, we saw a lot of times Kipnis calls him off on that ball. And I think Santana took it, but at the end, he stayed with it and made the catch.
Well, right after the catch was made, Kipnis and Santana having a conversation there. I think he's saying,
look at that. If I call for it, you get out of the way. It's almost like he's the quarterback out there.
Yep.
He's in the middle of the diamond. If he calls for it, you move. And he does it all year long. So I think just Santana stayed with that one, and Kipnis just wants to straighten it out.
Jimmy Paredes, the DH. He's hit in 5 in a row for Baltimore. Bauer's 0-2. chops it foul. Just missed. Another close one. It's 2-2. Couldn't get him to bite. And now the count is full. Ball 4. Had him 0-2 and walked him.
Well, if you look at it, it looks like a pretty good pitch, and they sit on the inside corner. And that's a tough pitch to get called, and he's right there, has his eyeballs right on that plate. If it's off the dish, it may be off by an inch or so. So if you're not going to give that, he's got to give a little bit on the outside.
Well, Adam Jones making his return to the lineup. And he pops the first pitch up. Is it playable? Urshela near the dugout. He's got it 2 away. Our window system's game time temperature is 73 degrees under mostly cloudy skies now.
It's nice and bright and sunny early this morning, wasn't it?
A little breezy. Wind will blow out toward right field. Chris Davis in right field today, batting in the cleanup spot. Davis has hit in 6 straight. Davis had the game-winning RBI hit on Friday night in the 8th inning when he drove home Jimmy Paredes with the go-ahead run.
They did that in a hurry. 3 pitches. After the Indians had tied it up at 3.
Well, actually, it was 2 pitches, and then the next guy got a hit on the 3rd pitch. But it was only 2 pitches to give him the lead back.
Right. Base hit, and they had that run right back.
Shift on with Paredes being held at first. And again, no inside call there. 2-1. Another big crowd here in Baltimore. Looks like a sellout. The 2-1. Line right at Lindor to end the inning. We played one in Baltimore, no score. Second inning here in Baltimore. And David Murphy will lead it off for Cleveland. Ubaldo fires in another strike.
Well, for the first 4, I think he's been first pitch fastball, strike 1 to every hitter. Well, you're looking at that on the bench. You would think, okay, I'm going to look for that fastball on the first pitch and see if you can get after it. Normally, I know you want to be patient with him, but right now he's proven he's throwing strikes.
12 out of 16 strikes so far for Ubaldo. And Murphy lays off. It's just outside. Since May 9th, David Murphy is batting .376 in his last 39 games. And Ubaldo strikes him out to start the second. Let's go down to Andre. Indians facing Ubaldo Jimenez. We talked about trying to be patient, but he's thrown a lot of strikes here early.
Yeah, he's doing things a little backwards for them so far. They were going to be patient against him because in 4 of his last 5 outings, he's only lasted 5 innings, and we know he gets the pitch count up. So far, he's been in the strike zone. And I got to tell you guys, from where I'm standing watching, he's a tall pitcher. It looks like he's 30 feet from the plate, not 60 foot and 6 inches.
Well, he looks free and easy to me, and he's just sitting out there pumping fastballs for strikes. So I'll tell you what, there's nothing wrong with having a game plan, but you sometimes have to make adjustments. Yeah. Plan B.
Adjust on the fly.
Well, and that's fine. I mean, he's proven he's throwing strikes. Now you react, you try and maybe be a little more aggressive if you can, and see if that changes his pattern, because he's pumping strikes.
Just missed. It's 1-1. Santana has picked up a hit in 4 straight games. He homered Friday night to tie the game briefly. Well, it's certainly good to see Santana at least starting to put together some hits, because since June the 5th, basically in the month of June, he's hit a .174. Up and away, 2-2. High pop, left field. Out goes Machado. In comes Pierce. 2 down.
Well, Live Indians baseball is back in 2015 with MLB.com at bat. On your smartphone or tablet, you can stay connected with live radio broadcast, stats, breaking news, and more. Download MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball.
Like Santana, Brandon Moss, another guy the Indians would love to see starting to get hot. He's picked up a hit in 3 straight games, 5 out of his last 12.
There's a little breaking ball for a strike now. Little slider. Well, we mentioned the Ubaldo pitches much better in this ballpark, and that's got to be the reason why, because he's out there throwing strikes.
He has found a comfort zone here at Oriole Park.
Well, you know what? He's no longer, when he was with us, he was trying to throw 95, 96. He's taking it off. It's sitting around 90 to 92. And it's easier to control, and he has some movement on it, and he goes with that splitter. He has a little slider, but he's not overthrowing now, and it makes a big difference. There's a hit.
Ubaldo grabs it, but nothing to do with it.
That was a splitter right off the end of the bat, and Moss will get a 2-out base hit. So and you can't defend that. Ubaldo went running for it, and it's going to be a base hit. It's just perfectly placed. So Moss will get another base hit. He had 2 hits on Friday. Something the Indians did a lot of on Friday were 2-out hits. And hopefully that's going to carry over.
Yan Gomes looks at ball 1 outside. Gomes 3 for 6 when he has faced Ubaldo Jimenez.
This Orioles defensive team, they're pretty straight up for Gomes as a hitter. They do a lot of shifting, but for Yan, there it is, straight up. Falls behind his first hitter. Coming out of the stretch. Get the base runners. Get it early.
3-0.
Ah, big difference.
Interesting, Rick, with the count 3-0. Flaherty now moves up the middle from his second base position.
Yeah, looking like he's going to pull the ball if he wants to get after it.
Takes a strike. Right back up the middle.
How about that?
Where was Flaherty?
How about that?
Right back up the middle. So the inning ends. No score, middle of the second. Here's our Lowe's Never Stop Improving note of the day. 6 starts for Trevor Bauer this year. On the road, he's 4-1 with a 1.10 earned run average.
How about that, though? Prior to this year, 1-7 with a 5.5.
That's why it's so hard to figure out year to year why teams, why players have the disparity in stats home and road that they sometimes do.
It really is. It's a lot of young pitchers have a tough time winning on the road, but boy, has he turned it around.
Pop the first pitch up. Santana over near the seats. Reaches in and just beyond his glove.
Arms aren't long enough.
You can stretch him out, get him on the rack.
Yeah, you're going to have to. He needed about another foot or two. But we'll see. He gets over there. See, that's the key, is getting to the railing on time. Boy, that was almost at the end of the glove. Good try. Gets over to the railing. Just not long enough. That fan, I thought it might have touched it, but it did not.
Hit him. So Steve Pearce kind of turned his shoulder. Not sure he turned it out of the way as much as he turned into the pitch. But Pearce is aboard to start the second for Baltimore.
Well, there's no way you're getting out of that one. That was, ouch. That looked like it was up on his name.
It did, right in the nameplate.
Yeah, it was. Holy smokes. There's no way you can get out of the way of that.
So Baltimore gets their leadoff man aboard. And now Chris Parmelee swings and drives it to right field. Murphy on the move near the line makes the catch. One away. Back to first goes Pierce. J.J. Hardy, he was 1 for 3 with a home run the other night against Corey Kluber. He had a high fastball that he jumped on and sent it out to left field.
Also had a sacrifice fly. He's just a pretty solid, steady baseball player where nothing flashy. When healthy, he's outstanding at shortstop, makes all the plays. And he can run into a fastball, boy, if you make a mistake. Doesn't look like he would have good power, but he certainly does.
The 2-0. Not flashy, but steady to the point where he wins a Gold Glove.
Well, right. I mean, the people playing against him, you know, you would look at this guy and you talk about slick fielding shortstops, his name wouldn't come up. You'd bypass him. You'd go right over him because he's not flashy. He doesn't make the plays on the run like a lot of shortstops do. But he just seems to be at the right spot at the right time. Every time.
The 3-1. Swung on and missed. One on, one out here in the bottom of the second. And Bauer's payoff pitch. Runner goes. And a ground ball towards Lindor. He'll flip it to Kipnis. Out at second, out at first. Inning ending double play. Lindor scooped it quickly, flipped it to Kipnis. And the Tribe turns a pair to get out of the inning.
$15 for kids 12 and under with the purchase of an adult ticket. Kids tickets are located in the new family deck out at Progressive Field, home to the expanded kids clubhouse. This offer available only at Indians.com.
Michael Bourne going to lead off the third for Cleveland, and Ubaldo Jimenez misses low, ball one. Bourne had a pinch hit appearance Friday night, struck out. Getting the start with the right-hander on the hill here this afternoon. Takes a strike to even the count. Breaking ball is low. And it's 2-1. And Bourne, a big swing and a miss to even the count.
Well, it looked like a splitter that Michael swung over the top of.
Just missing. And a full count.
After he gets you to swing at that splitter, he tries to throw a dart there, a fastball down that doesn't move, and it stays at the knees.
And he strikes him off. Took a little bit off. Looked like a changeup. Third strikeout for Ubaldo. Might have been the split, but it had a good movement.
Yeah, you see it coming out of that glove, the split. You see the rotation on it. And it has movement, late movement, but it's, about 85 miles an hour. And he's throwing his fastball around 91, 92. But he gets his third strikeout. It's been the leadoff man every inning.
Giovanni Urshela. Breaking ball swung on and missed.
Watch it coming out. You see the split.
Yep.
See how it's coming out? Right there, he's got the big part of the seams and got a good feel for it. Gives you good arm action, and it's just a little bit off his fastball.
Reacts almost identically to a traditional circle changeup.
Yes.
Whereas when Danny Salazar throws his split grip with a changeup, it almost spins the other way.
It's hard to tell with Salazar. His is one of the tougher ones to read unless we pick it up out of the glove like we did with Ubaldo right there. Because there's times.
Did he go?
Yes, he
there's
did.
the umpire, Toby Bassler, down at first. Back-to-back strikeouts for Ubaldo. 4 Ks, first time through the order.
Well, you take a look at it from the side and see what you think. At home,
I don't know.
Well, I know it's a check, but more times than not, they go.
T-Mobile, game changer. How about these two guys? What they've done in the leadoff spot for their respective clubs this year. Jason Kipnis and Manny Machado. Kipnis struck out his first time up and takes a strike here.
Well,
2 down.
I don't remember seeing many hitters at all being as hot as Kipnis has been for the last 2 months. 51 hits in the month of May, and he is cruising. We've got a few days left in the month of June.
I think he needs about 21 to equal.
Well, he's not going to get 21, but that's why I said it was so skewed when the month he was putting up for May. You can't expect a guy to get 50 hits. That's a rarity.
Well, to illustrate your point, look at the names that we were throwing out there with regards to what he was doing in the month of May. I mean, we were comparing him to guys from way back.
Oh, yeah. He's been so fun to watch.
Kipnis chases one and strikes out. Boy, Ubaldo fans the side here in the third inning, and he is extremely sharp here today. Enjoy a cold one to stay tuned later in the game for Miller Time, brought to you by Miller Lite. Ryan Flaherty will lead off here in the bottom of the third. Flaherty went 2 for 3 with an RBI on Friday night. And Bauer's pitch sails high to even the count. Tough pitch to lay off, but Flaherty does, and it's 2-1.
Starting to get sunny out here now. Clouds are going away, and out comes the sun.
Been a strange weather weekend here in Baltimore.
That it has. They've had their share of rain here. They had almost 3 inches of rain here yesterday.
Wow. He has consistently tried to shoot for that inside corner, but really hasn't been able to get it called for a strike. But at least he's making the hitters aware that he's going to continue to go in there.
Yes, there's nothing wrong with that. You'd like to get it called, but it's not going to get called today. Vanover, a veteran umpire, he's going to stay consistent with it.
Kipnis snares the line drive. He threw to first just to be sure, but Flaherty is out, number 1.
Well, grab some friends, catch a game at the new Corner Bar, which is open to all fans at Progressive Field. $13 district tickets presented by Sports Time Ohio. Get yours today. Just go to Indians.com.
1 down for Caleb Joseph. And he takes a fastball right down Broadway. Right back up the middle where the hole was. And Joseph has the first hit of the afternoon for Baltimore. Let's go down to Andre. Andre looking through, first time through the lineup today. Bauer walked one, hit a batter, does not have a strikeout.
No, he does not. He came into this game with 19 walks in his last 5 outings. He's second in the majors with 4.4 walks per 9 innings. And look, Trevor Bauer's a guy, now he's told me he doesn't worry about walks, but in talking to Mickey Callaway and different coaches, they said, hey, look, you got to work on your mechanics and can't get yourself behind if you want to get deeper in games, because it's something that doesn't bother him, but it has hurt him in the last couple of games.
There's one that gets between the legs of Gomes, and down to second goes Joseph on the wild pitch. Sometimes catchers expect that ball to bounce up into the glove. This one maybe stayed down.
Yeah, he was coming up with that pitch, and it did. It stayed down on him. You're right. Go as a wild pitch. Now, you can talk about walks all you want. Eventually, they're going to come around to hurt you. The more base runners you give up. And, you flip over lineups. What people don't realize, when you're facing a good lineup, let's say Baltimore, they've been swinging the bats well, they've been scoring a lot. Anytime you walk a couple of guys, 3 or 4 during the course of the game, you're flipping that lineup over where you're going to have to face the best hitters one more time for that 5th time. Unless you're giving up so few hits that the walks being in there, but that rarely happens. You play the teams like the Tigers or something, it seems like Cabrera's hitting every other inning. Well, in the middle part of that lineup.
I can understand, too, from Bauer's perspective, trying to take a negative and psychologically spin it to a positive, to where, okay, I'm walking guys, but I'm not allowing them to score.
Yeah.
But no one who's been associated with this game for more than a century, it's been around, can say that walks are a good thing in any way.
No,
it's just not.
It's, and what do you use it as offensively? You use it as a way of saying, hey, a walk's as good as a hit. Yeah. And it is, because you're getting on base. That's part of the Indians' offense. The amazing thing about the Indians' offense, they lead the league in walks. Unfortunately, they just haven't been able to get them in. But if they ever started to hit, and because they have the table setter set, they get a few hits with base runners, they're going to score a lot of runs. But they just haven't been able to do that.
Now, there are times, as Gomes goes out for a chat, there are times, as we have noted, when you've got a Miguel Cabrera, or maybe it's a Chris Davis or an Adam Jones in a key spot with a base open. There are times where, okay, you want to walk.
Oh, yeah,
you don't want to give into it.
But you see, that's going to present itself during the course of the game, where you have an open base and you want to pitch around the hottest hitter in the lineup at that point in time. That comes above and beyond the walks that you're also going to give up.
2-2 foul back.
Baltimore, one of the better teams hitting with runners, the best team in this league, 319 with runners in scoring position. So you look at them, they're fourth in the league at 262 average, but number one with runners in scoring position.
2-2 pitch. I mean, you really look at the two teams, Cleveland and Baltimore, and that's the difference in the record.
Yeah.
Is the fact that Baltimore has had a lot of those clutch hits to drive in runs, and the Indians are starved for those types of hits.
Right. You leave the runners stranded as opposed to getting them in a couple of times.
3-2 pitch. And slowly chopped foul.
And it's a difference sometimes of playing from in front, which the Indians are much better when they do. The Orioles are 30 and 15 when they score first. When they score fewer than 4 runs, they're only 4 and 24, and their fourth win came on Friday night against the Indians.
Well, here it is. This is what I'm talking about. Baltimore, when they score 4 or more, they're 35 and 10. The Indians are 26 and 10. That's a 9-game difference.
Right. Yeah.
You get to that 4th run. That's huge.
Yeah, it really is huge.
The Indians would be a whole different looking club right now with 9 more wins on their side of the ledger. Right there at the top of the standings with Kansas City. 3-2 pitch. High, towering fly ball right field. Murphy is there. Joseph tags, but he's not going anywhere.
Should have been halfway.
2 down. Jimmy Paredes will bat here with 2 down and a runner in scoring position.
And here's your number 1 guy hitting with runners in scoring position is Paredes. He's hitting that 455 clip. Well, he's the best in the business so far this year.
And with 2 outs, it's frightening. He's 11 for 17.
This is where you be careful if you're Trevor Bauer. I know you have Adam Jones on deck, but he hasn't been playing. This is that one situation you're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Yeah, and you can't go first pitch there.
That is long gone, and the Baltimore Orioles will play from in front. They lead it 2-0.
Yeah. There's a case in a point where 2 outs, the guy has been outstanding. He's got confidence, and once he get a first pitch fastball and launches it.
He is 12 for 18 now with runners in scoring position and 2 outs. And that's his 2nd home run in those situations.
Well, and look at the pitch out over the plate. That was a meatball. And you see what happens. He turned it into a 2-run dinger.
9th home run of the year for Paredes. Give him 36 runs batted in, and he's now hitting 6 in a row for the Birds.
It's the 9th home run given up by Bauer, and the 88th hit for Baltimore.
Up comes Adam Jones, who fouled out his first time up. Bauer throws it right by him. It's 1-1. Two balls, two strikes. To third, Urshela throws it on to end the inning. But Jimmy Paredes goes deep here in the third, and the Orioles lead it 2-0. And Ubaldo Jimenez take to a 2-0 lead. For Cleveland here in the fourth inning, Francisco Lindor, Michael Brantley, and David Murphy. First doubleheader of the year for the Indians, second for Baltimore. They split a twin bill against Chicago back on May 28th here at Camden Yards. Ground ball toward the right side. Flaherty spins around and just didn't throw him out.
He took his time, didn't he?
Our stat of the game brought to you by Buick. The Indians, this is what we were talking about, that key hit that can change a game. They've had the opportunities. Santana, Brantley, Moss.
Yeah, and you look at the, Santana hitting .203 with 97 chances. Moss, 88. He's hitting $184. Of course, Brantley's always been a pretty good clutch hitter, but boy, that's what we're talking about. You have three guys on the same team with opportunities to drive in runs, and they're the big boys that have to drive them in, and it's not getting done. All three of them. Brantley has 37 ribbies. Santana has 36, and so does Moss.
Only one base runner so far for the Indians, and that was a squib hit by Moss. Now they'll have their second hit of the day as Brantley softly serves one to left.
Now that ball off the end of the bat. And he realized it. He saw it.
So 1 on, 1 out for David Murphy, who struck out his first time up. And Ubaldo attacks the outside corner for strike 1. Low and away.
Well, we know that you can run on Ubaldo. So if you get opportunities, stay aggressive. Still early into this game, make something happen. They have 3 on the right side with Murphy up there. They're giving you the left side if you wanted to start a runner. Murphy's certainly not a prototypical 4-place hitter, so get after it. Stay aggressive. Still early in this game. There you'll see it. 12 for 13, and he's about average at delivering the ball to home plate. But you can certainly run on him.
Count now 2-2. Brantley is 8 steals. He's been caught just once.
Well, that's his A move, and it's not very good.
Strike 3 called. 6th strikeout for Jimenez, 2 down.
Boy, unbelievable. 6 strikeouts here. We're in the 4th inning for Ubaldo. It's a low fastball. It has the plate. He's been calling the pitch down.
Yeah, it might have been low, but as you said, he's been calling that from the outset.
Yes, he has. He's been calling it. It had plenty of plate, so he gets the call, and it's 6 strikeouts now.
Starts him off with a curveball, and it's ball 1. Santana flied to left his first time up.
Big swing on splitter. That one was really slow there. Almost that might have been just a changeup instead of the splitter. But you remember that ball on Friday night that Santana hit out, the low pitch. It made it look so easy. It's like, how can that ball get out of here?
It's a great clip of the game.
You got to be kidding me. Look at that. That ball was done. You see how easy that swing was? And then you come up and you watch him swing here on that changeup, and he's trying to hit everything out of the park. Look at it. It looked like he was way out in front of that pitch, and it went for a home run.
Let's go down to Andre.
Speaking of that home run, that was the lowest ball hit out of a ballpark all year long. A matter of fact, guys, I did the research. It was 14.1 inches off the ground. That's the 7th lowest pitch hit out of a home run since 2008 for a home run in Major League Baseball.
14.1 inches.
Yes,
Would you have a ruler?
I went out there with a ruler yesterday in the rain.
Santana waves at it again. 7th strikeout for Jimenez. And we'll go to the bottom of the fourth. 2-0 Baltimore.
Players get to the All-Star game. Voting is on the line this year, and you can vote up to 35 times. So visit Indians.com to vote Tribe.
For Baltimore here in the fourth, it'll be Davis, Pierce, and Parmelee. Ran it in on him for strike one. Davis got a little liner to Francisco Lindor, who's on the right side of the infield with the shift on. Tries to go the other way here, but that's going to slice out of play. And it's 0-2. Fastball way up out of the zone.
Yeah, not a pitch there where, you know, was very effective to where he could even take a chance at swinging at it. He did
there. A breaking ball in the dirt, and he couldn't help himself. First strikeout for Bauer. And it comes here in the fourth inning, one down.
It's going to be our Circle K strikeout for the day. He followed that high fastball up with a nice little breaking ball down in the dirt, and Davis could not hold up.
So even a fastball way up out of the strike zone still changes the eye level.
Yeah, it does, and that was just he got himself out there. And Bauer, a guy that usually has a strikeout per inning, that's his first one today.
Breaking ball in for a strike.
Pierce took one off the nameplate in his jersey in his last at bat. Hit by a pitch.
The 0-2 is fouled over toward the Indians dugout.
Watch this ball coming up and in. It looks like it gets him right on the R. Ouch, it did. Right in the middle.
It's R-rated.
Yeah, it is. You ask him, it couldn't have felt very good. I mean, couldn't get out of the way. You're just sitting there and you're waiting to take it, because you know it's coming.
And the 1-2 pitch is downstairs. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Bauer deals, and strike 3 called. So back-to-back strikeouts here in the 4th inning.
Well, you come back again, and it was a beautiful pitch. Little slide piece on the outside part of the plate. At the knees, at the corner, gets the call. So back-to-back strikeouts now for Trevor Bauer.
And up comes Chris Parmelee. Parmelee flying to right his only time up. Now the 1-1 pitch, and a pop-up foul out of play. Bauer strikes out the side here in the 4th inning. Baltimore goes 1-2-3. And we go to the 5th. The Orioles 2 and the Indians nothing. Brought to you by your Northern Ohio Honda dealers, by the Cleveland Clinic. Call for an appointment today. And by the game-changing all-new Ford F-150. The future is tough. Baltimore leads it 2-0 as we roll on to the 5th inning. Brandon Moss leading it off. And he takes ball 1. Moss had an infield single his first time up. Just kind of squibbed one off the end of the bat up the third base side.
Perfectly placed. He has 7 infield hits this year, believe it or not, and I bet a lot of them are that exact same way, right off the end of the bat.
Inside corner, 2-1. Moss shoots it foul over past the Orioles dugout. Evens the count.
Well, likes it on the road much better.
He's run into some bad luck at times at home. I mean, he's hit some balls hard that have either been hammered into a brisk wind coming in off the lake, or, you know, try to go the other way and hit it off the wall a couple of times. It just, you know, I think it does whether they'll admit it publicly or not, it does get into a player's psyche.
Will wear on you after a while, yeah. Well, there's some parks you like and some parks you don't. I'm not saying he doesn't like his home ballpark, but sometimes it doesn't matter where you are. If you're having success, you like it. Whether you like the park or not, just give me some hits.
Look at David Murphy. I mean, Murphy's always hit at Progressive Field.
Yeah.
And so and that was as a visiting player, but now the last couple of years playing in Cleveland, he's taken full advantage of that as Moss.
You know, the run disparity isn't much when you talk about home road splits. They're about even. It's the pitching that's the big difference.
High pop, foul out of play. Although one could assume that you would score more in your home park than maybe you do on the road.
You would hope to, yeah. But as we talk about every year, you see the splits and it changes. Oh, this guy, he's a better player at home than he is on the road. The next year could be the total opposite.
Moss pops this one high in the air to left. Pierce over near the line, out coming in. 1 away.
Well, Ubaldo's been firing strikes all day long, and here you go. Just nice fastball right here to get a strikeout. He has 7 on the day. There's a nice splitter. You can see the grip. Now you're going to see a breaking ball coming in next. So he really has a pretty good feel. That's a curveball for everything he's throwing up there today. He's pitched ahead in the count. He has not walked the batter, that's perfect for him.
He's throwing 20 more strikes than he has balls, and that's
normally
the name of the game.
Yeah, and you know what? We're in the 5th inning, and I figured, okay, he's going to be in the 5th inning. He's right around the 100 pitch mark, and guess what? He's not even close. 71. So for him, that's a great day. You know, I don't know if he's been like this all year or every start in Baltimore but he has to be pitching well because he has a nice record here at home.
Yeah. Gomes bounces one to Hardy, and the shortstop with a long throw gets him 2 down.
Well, there's J.J. Hardy just going to the backhand side, plants, gets up, and that's the play you have to make if you want to be a big league shortstop. Going to your right, getting into the hole, planting, and getting a good throw off to get the base runner.
And that time Baltimore had the 3-man shift on the left side of the infield, so Hardy didn't have a long way to go. Able to pull himself over toward the hole. You know, you mentioned earlier, Rick, Hardy not flashy, but solid, dependable,
right.
Gold Glove winner at shortstop. Mark Belanger, was he a flashy shortstop?
No, he wasn't. No, the blade, they called him. He was, positioned well. Just seemed to do everything well.
Ryan Flaherty with an off-balance throw to retire Bourne, and the Indians again go 1-2-3 for the 3rd time today. 2-0 Baltimore. Bottom of the 5th, bottom third of the order for the O's. J.J. Hardy to lead it off. Rounded into an inning-ending double play in the 2nd. And Trevor Bauer has found his groove with a first pitch strike to Hardy.
Well, now that I'm looking closer at the numbers for Ubaldo in this ballpark this year, 6 times he has pitched in this park. 5 of those 6, he's pitched 7 innings and pitched really good games.
Line to short. Lindor snares it for out number 1. Our in-game recap brought to you by your Toyota dealers. One swing of the bat by Jimmy Paredes. A 2-out, 2-run homer. And that's it. Baltimore leads it 2-0. High pop, foul out of play. Rick, I wonder with Trevor Bauer, didn't get his first strikeout till the 4th and then struck out the side. But I wonder on a day like this, if there's a conscious decision, knowing that you've got a doubleheader, knowing what that can do to a bullpen, if he goes out there thinking, I want to try to be as efficient as possible. I'm not going to go for strikeouts, but I want to get outs and try to get deep into the game to help my team out as best I can. Or if that's just a byproduct of what happens on a given day.
It's hard to say with Trevor. I think Trevor tries to pitch deep into every game. Usually he gets better. You know, I know where he wants to go at least 7 innings. He had that streak going this year. But you know, I don't know if the doubleheader thing. It certainly may come into his thought process. I think as a starting pitcher, you'd want to go out there and complete every game you go out there to pitch in.
Trevor pitched into the 7th inning in 5 straight starts between May 14th and June the 4th.
He had a nice run there, and then when he came out, I think he went 6 2/3 that one time, and he was upset. He wanted to stay in the game and pitch.
His month of June has just been strange. You know, he's had 2 bad starts. They've both been at home. Went 3 2/3 against Seattle, 3 innings against Detroit.
Every other start it's been for those last 6 starts. It's a win-loss, win-loss, win-loss. So he's coming off a bad start against Detroit, so you know he wants to pitch well. He's only pitched one other time here, that coming last year, and as I mentioned, he took the loss. Made one mistake here today.
The 2-2 to Flaherty. Clobbered to deep right field. And back is Murphy, who makes the grab on the warning track for out number 2. Time now for a Mazda game break. Here's Al Pawlowski. Thanks, Al. Liner to Lindor. He's got it again twice in the inning. Lindor snares a line drive. And Trevor Bauer has now set down 7 Baltimore hitters in a row. Doubleheader starts at 7 o'clock tonight as Toru Murata will make his major league debut for the Tribe against the Orioles. Al and Jensen lead off our coverage at 6:30 with Indians Live right here on Sports Time Ohio. 30-year-old Murata will make his major league debut for the Indians. Chris Tillman, who's pitched well for Baltimore, getting the start. Giovanni Urshela struck out his only time up in the third. 5 in a row have been set down by Ubaldo.
Totally different Jimenez the Indians are seeing today than they did in June on the 6th. He walked 6 Indian hitters in that ball game, which matched a career high. But even though the Indians had all those walks, they only put 1 run up on the board.
Right back up the middle. And Urshela has a leadoff single for Cleveland.
A little different arm angle this time. It spins one up. There was a hanging slider. Thought he was going to maybe get the young guy to bail out on it. He didn't. He lost the location of the pitch right there, and it stayed middle of the plate. So the leadoff man aboard for the Indians now. Rolling back to the top of the lineup for the 3rd time.
Well, let's see if Jason Kipnis can get it rolling here today. He has struck out his first 2 times up against Ubaldo.
Well, and what you do, you get him back out of the stretch again. It hasn't seemed to bother him yet. The first hit they had, he fell behind the hitter.
Kipnis sends one high in the air to left field over near the line. Pierce makes the catch. 1 away. Well, let's take a look at our injury report brought to you by the injury lawyers at Elk & Elk. Giancarlo Stanton with a fracture in the wrist placed on the DL. He's going to miss at least a month. The major league leader in home runs with 27 already.
Yeah, and RBIs. He was rolling, that guy, but he did it on a swing.
Yeah. He thinks he did it on a check swing, and then the next time up he said that was the icing on the cake. That's when he really felt it. Rick, I was going to say, for the Indians, this is where you really want to make a move, because this Baltimore bullpen, you start getting a little deeper into the ball game, they have been very good. They're on a really good run since the end of April. So for 2 months, they've been one of the best, the best bullpen in the big leagues. Lindor over the liner to center. Jones got a late break, but he makes the backhanded catch.
Yeah, I agree with you, Matty. They have been very good. So you start looking at what their record is after 7 innings, and they're like undefeated. But here's a ball hit right on the nose. One of the harder pitches hit today off Jimenez, and Jones tracks it down for out number 2.
Yeah, when Baltimore leads after 7, they are 33-0. So 2 down in the 6th, and Michael Brantley, the batter. He is 1 for 2. Singled his last time up. And Michael following it back. Urshela with that leadoff single, just the 3rd Indians base runner today. All 3 have come via singles. But he's the first leadoff base runner for the Tribe. And now with 2 down, Brantley shoots one to left center. Pierce cuts it off, and Urshela has to stop at second base. But the Indians have 2 on with 2 out now.
Well, this ball down, and Brantley likes it down there, and he stays on it. And that ball running away, a little two-seam fastball, put a good swing on it, lined it to left field. So they keep the rally going now with 2 outs. Now it's up to David Murphy to see if they can do any damage here.
Murphy struck out swinging in the second. He was out looking in the fourth. Baltimore with a quasi shift for Murphy. Hardy, the shortstop, shading him up the middle. He's playing on the grass. Right side playing him to pull. And David's quickly in the hole. 0-2. Is it just me, Rick, or does it seem like David's in full happy mode?
Well, yeah, very well could be. I mean, the first time when he was up, yes, he seemed like he was pulling off the baseball a little bit. That front side looked like it was opening.
And the fastball upstairs. Well, based on that graphic, you'd almost expect that breaking ball after the fastball went upstairs.
Splitter. He's been throwing that little low dart down there too, trying to keep it there, and the hitters give up on it.
From 0-2 to 2-2 now for Murphy. With 2 on and 2 out here in the 6th. And a high fly ball hit to right field. Back is Davis, still drifting back. Onto the warning track, makes the catch. Ubaldo Jimenez gets out of trouble here in the 6th. The Indians strand a pair. They trail it 2-0.
Including savings and access to Tribe Rewards. Today's Tribe Rewards TV code is OJ. You can visit Indians.com season tickets for complete details.
Top of the order for Baltimore here in the bottom half of the 6th inning, and Manny Machado to lead it off. He is 0 for 2. He has popped up and fly to right. Takes low, ball 1.
You know, Trevor Bauer's only given up the 2 hits. It was a 1-out single to Joseph and then the home run to Paredes. And that was it. He's worked his way through. He's been very good. Struck out the side in the 4th. He went 1, 2, 3 in the 5th.
One. Swing and a miss.
Nice.
Well, I know this sounds like we're playing a broken record over and over again, but
it's a lot to ask of a pitcher when you don't score to go out and be perfect.
Yes, it is. Well, you're not trying to be perfect. You just try and keep the game close. Well, you keep it close, but there's times where you have to come back and score. You know, get it tied, get the lead. We're getting there. Yeah, we're already into the 6th inning here. They're going through their lineup for the 3rd time now.
That's hit a long way. Deep left. Brantley back on the track. He's at the wall, and it is gone. Manny Machado has now hit in 9 straight games. His 15th home run of the year. A solo shot here in the 6th makes it 3-0 Baltimore.
Well, he got just enough of it.
And I think Brantley's mad because had he maybe been able to get to the wall a step or two quicker, he would have had a chance to leap up.
Yes.
He just couldn't get there fast enough.
No, this wall here is definitely high enough to climb and get over. But you see, he hit. Oh, it was right there. He needed another step, maybe 2, to get back there. And you can see the fan in the first row. Ended up, he wasn't going to interfere with it. He was going to let it get deep. But Machado gets his 15th. And it had just enough, and it's a 3-0 ball game now. And for the Orioles, 2 of their 3 hits have been home runs.
Paredes wraps one to deep right. Murphy back. Off the wall. Short hop defense. And Paredes in the second base with a double.
And he's been a one-man wrecking crew in this series so far. He's 2 for 2 today. Gave this ball a ride. Paredes had 3 hits in game 1. He comes back 2 for 2 now on a pitch out over the plate. He stayed back nicely on that pitch and turned over on it into right center field. Get it over the head of Murphy. Gets his 12th double.
And up comes Adam Jones. He was 0 for 2 on the day. Jones had missed 8 out of the last 10 games, and a lot of discussions behind closed doors as to whether or not they should put him on the DL.
I think today was the day.
Oh, gets by Gomes down to 3rd. Here's the throw. It's offline and into left field, but the runner was down. Paredes had to go down onto the ground, and so he has to stay right there. He was going to get to 3rd regardless. Gomes took a chance because that ball ricocheted right back to him off the brick wall.
Yeah, another one that stays down and gets under in the 5-hole, and the throw to 3rd base, nowhere even close. Whips head into left field. Fortunately, Brantley was coming in. Paredes didn't originally see it and ended up staying put, but he can't score. But still, there's nobody out in this inning. And
second wild pitch of the day, and they got to bring the infield in now.
Yeah.
Nobody out. Jones has a banged up right shoulder that he injured diving for a ball. And this guy essentially has been an Iron Man year in, year out here for Baltimore, but they were concerned that he just wasn't going to be able to make it through without a trip to the DL. But manager Buck Showalter said he had been feeling better with each passing day.
Well, he is a big part of this lineup, sitting in that number 3 hole. What a deal they made to get him from Seattle for Eric Bedard. The guy that's going to pitch game 2 came along with him. So I would happen to say that the Baltimore Orioles made out better in that deal.
That was a good one. And Buck Showalter, look, he's a huge fan of Adam Jones, and that's why he's been waiting patiently, trying to avoid putting him on the DL, because he said, hey, he's a very important piece to our puzzle.
No question.
High
That's
pop.
not going to get it done.
In comes Brantley. Out goes Lindor. Lindor calls for it. He makes the catch. And Paredes holds at 3rd, 1 down. Chris Davis 0 for 2 on the day. See how the Indians play this. If they'll keep the infield in,
they have to
shift on with Davis. They're going to play him in, but a couple of steps back on that right side.
You know, and that's what, yeah, they're in with nobody out. You have to be in with one out, and Kipnis can play a little deeper there because Paredes isn't blessed with good speed. And this is a guy that hits a lot of balls in the air. He's got that uppercut. He doesn't hit many on the ground. If he does, he's going to top it. And he shouldn't hit it that hard. But this guy usually with that uppercut will hit him a mile high in the air. Or if you make a mistake, you can get him a mile long.
Yeah. That's what Bauer's hoping, is that he'll pop one up on the infield.
Or he can get the strikeout.
That's hammered. Deep left center. One hops the fence. Paredes scores. Davis in the second. 4-0 Baltimore. His 14th double of the year. RBI number 44 on the year. And Davis has now hit in 7 straight games for Baltimore.
Yeah, he gets a little swinging room here, and he stayed on the baseball nicely. A couple of years ago when he had that wonderful year where he hit over 50 home runs, he would go that way a lot, and there you'll see the swinging room belt high. He's a good low ball hitter, but he drives this pitch to left center field and gets him in. So a good job of hitting by Davis, give him his 44th ribby. 2 runs in the inning, make it a 4-0 ball game for the O's.
Now Steve Pearce hit by a pitch and has struck out. And waves at it.
That right there to me is a guess swing. Looking like he's going to get a fastball, and he's checked his swing and went after the slider.
And a foul right back. It's 0-2.
So give the Orioles a couple more hits today with runners in scoring position. Best in the league at it.
And Pearce strikes out on 3 pitches. 2 down. Well, and that's what's impressive about what Baltimore has done, and what's so frustrating from Cleveland's perspective. They don't have many hits today, but
they made them count.
They've made them count, exactly.
Yeah, you make your hits count, and when you leave the yard, that always helps. But they leave the yard when they get their home runs or they get their base hits. Runners in scoring position. This has always been an Orioles team that can hit homers.
Parmalee is swinging a miss. He's 0 for 2 today with a fly out to right. Called out on strikes in the 4th.
Yeah, in their surge where they won 16 of the 21, they're averaging right around 6 runs a game.
Gomes throws to second. Close play, but Davis got the hand in before Lindor could slap the tag on him.
I like that. That's nice play. When you're a catcher, you see a runner stranding off that base. You can see him whether he's getting back quickly or not. So you could put a sign on. And I'm sure he got Lindor's attention and said, "I want to try and pick him."
Not a play. 1-2 on Parmalee. A 2-run homer in the 3rd, and 2 runs home here in the 6th. A solo homer and an RBI double, and Baltimore has a 4-0 lead. Strikes him out to end the inning. Gomes will have to throw to first to record the out. And that'll do it. But Baltimore strikes again. Machado goes deep. Davis drives home Paredes. 4-0 Baltimore.
Visit mykiacleveland.com to learn more. By Levin Mattress, located in all Levin furniture and freestanding locations. And by AT&T Uverse, has more channels on the go than cable.
Seventh inning in Baltimore, and the Orioles are on top 4-0. Carlos Santana to lead off for Cleveland. And he takes a pitch inside. Santana fly to left in the second, struck out in the fourth. That was the last strikeout for Jimenez in this game, his 7th of the afternoon. Hit to deep right. Back is Davis. Leaps up and makes the catch.
That ball fooled him a little bit with the top spin on it. He ends up jumping for it, and I don't know if he had to. He was going back, and it looked like he was going to catch it. Watch him jump. Well, he just wasn't sure, and I don't know if he, he just played right field Friday night for the first time all year. So a stranger to the outfield, let's put it that way.
Brandon Moss, 1 for 2 today. Takes a strike. Let's go down to Andre.
Matt, as you mentioned, Brandon Moss is 1 of 2 today. From June 5th until Friday, he was hitting 181, 12 of 66. But he's 5 of his last 8. And with the streakiness of Brandon Moss, let's hope he's starting to get hot again.
Yeah, and hopefully that means some power, because that's his game. He's got a dozen home runs, and his home runs can come in bunches. And there's a one-hopper to short, backhanded by Hardy. 2 down. Beg your pardon, that was Machado with the shift on.
He was at shortstop. You're right, but he made the play. He is a shortstop. He's got that cannon.
Yeah.
What a job he's done over there at third base.
Yan Gomes 0 for 3. Takes a strike. Popped up on the infield. Inning over. Tribe goes 1, 2, 3. 7th inning stretch. Brought to you by Spitzer Auto World. Well, as we promised you earlier, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. A few years ago, we were here in Baltimore, and what a storm we had, and the drains backed up in the Indians' dugout. And the players couldn't get to the clubhouse. They had to go out and around through the main concourse.
Looks like Murph's basement in Cleveland.
Yeah, that was quite a scene.
Yes, I remember that. How about the broad jump by Datsy right there?
That was sweet.
That was about, what, 3 feet?
Polar bear jump. How about the guy with the, he's got a Louisville Slugger violin, I guess, and he played the national anthem. He played God Bless America.
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome.
Now he's playing Thank God I'm a Country Boy, like a fiddle.
Well, that thing is unbelievable. What a rendition of the national anthem today. It was really spectacular. His electric slugger.
And we're back to baseball now. Bottom of the 7th. J.J. Hardy to lead off for Baltimore. 4-0. The Orioles lead it. Pitch outside, ball 1. Tribe has a double barrel action in the pen. Nick Hagedorn from the left side. Jeff Manship is the right-hander. 2-0. Strike called. 2-1. Right back through Bauer. Behind the bag is Kipnis. And he'll throw him out 1 away. Tuesday, the 2015 Women's World Cup semifinals begin. Alex Morgan and Team USA take on Germany with a trip to the final on the line. Coverage begins Tuesday at 6 Eastern, only on your local Fox station and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Ryan Flaherty 0 for 2. Pop back. Out of play. Missed inside. 1-1. Santana with a backhander. High throw. What a job by Bauer. Oh, he leaped up in the air, made the catch, did a pirouette, and still found the bag with his foot for out number 2.
That play was all Bauer right there. Santana had plenty of time. Let's make this our McDonald's. I'm loving it. And it's all on the effort of Trevor Bauer. Santana, you see his feet were flat. He had time to get himself going and really give him a nice feed over there and lead him to first base. But Bauer did a wonderful job of catching the ball, turning backwards all the way around and finding the base. What a nice play that was.
Who says pitchers aren't athletes?
Well, I'll tell you what, that was a very athletic play right there.
Caleb Joseph. He takes a breaking ball for a strike. Joseph singled and scored ahead of the homer by Paredes back in the 3rd inning. Upstairs, 1-1. Ran it in on him, popped it up. Gomes right at the plate. Backpedaling, makes the catch. And the O's go 1-2-3. We head to the 8th. 4-0 Baltimore.
Not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cleveland Indians.
Well, the O's lead the Indians 4-0 as we head to the 8th inning. Unfortunately, the O's are under the run column for Cleveland again. Ubaldo pitching into the 8th inning. What, first time this year?
Well, yes, he's gone 7 innings. It's 5 times here, and they've all been home. The amazing thing, he's never gone more than 7, but right now he is dealing. He's given up 4 hits. This will be pitch number 100 coming on this one, but has made it look easy today. Hasn't walked a batter, has struck out 7.
Well, remember how we talked before about home and road and trying to figure out what it is. Wow, you look at Ubaldo, and I think it started right out of the get-go. He went 18 2/3 innings before giving up a run here. So
right.
He got off to a good start,
yes.
And he's just kind of rolled ever since.
You know, I was looking at that, and you're right. The best start he had was maybe his first start against Toronto back in his April 11th. 7 innings, 1 hit. Now, you remember, he pitched a great game when he was with us against Toronto. That was one of those teams with all those right-handers in it. But, I mean, today it's just been a breeze for him. And you're thinking, you know, that's what the Orioles needed, because they're pitching their starters. They didn't call anybody up at least to start for the second game, and that's the one move you can make is for game 2, like the Indians did with Murata, and they're going to push Anderson back so they don't have to make a move for Thursday.
Right.
But Baltimore is going to stay. Tillman's going to pitch game 2, and this is the best thing that could happen is Jimenez come out here and give him some length for game 1.
Well, that's probably the reason why, not that he hasn't pitched well enough to earn it, but again, with the doubleheader, Buck Showalter is probably thinking, hey, we've got a 4-run lead. He's pitching well. Let's extend him maybe a little more than we normally would.
Yeah, why not? I mean, normally it's 104 pitches. He's in the 5th inning. But you know what? It's the 8th inning now.
Giovanni Urshela drives one fairly deep center, but Jones cruising back makes the catch. Davis never got out of the way.
Get out of the way. Are you kidding me?
Look at Jones saying, what are you doing over there?
Been out here for years making that play. Get out of here. Get back to your position first.
You see that 373-foot mark? You don't go past that.
Yeah, right.
I've got everything from there over.
Hey, in the defense of Davis, you're absolutely right. He doesn't know any better. He's going out there to catch the ball because he's playing the outfield, so he doesn't really know. You've got a 4-time Gold Glove winner out there, so don't worry. He'll handle it. I give him credit, man. You run after, when you're playing the outfield, you run after like you want to catch every ball, and when you hear him call for it, you get out of the way.
He did the right thing by peeling behind him.
Right. Not his fault. He's, as I mentioned, the first game in the outfield was Friday night. He's back out there again, so he wants to do a good job. Wow, look out.
Well, Ubaldo has really done a number on Jason Kipnis today. He has struck him out twice. He flied out to left his last time up. Could be his last chance to extend the streak. And a foul back. They'll have to earn it now, down 0-2. Ground ball to second. Flaherty will throw him out. Indians go in order. 4-0 Orioles. Ubaldo Jimenez with his longest start of the season. Care. It's coming up next here on Sports Time Ohio. And then a reminder, we'll be back with Indians Live, the pregame version at 6:30 p.m. And Rick and I and Andre will have the action for Game 2 at 7 Eastern. Cleveland Clinic call to the bullpen is for left-hander Nick Hagedorn. Rough stretch of late for Nick. Last 6 games, he's logged 5 innings. He's allowed 6 hits, 4 earned runs, couple of walks, 7 strikeouts. This last time out for Hagedorn, he went an inning and 2/3 against Detroit and only gave up 1 hit, struck out a pair. He's got the top of the order, Manny Machado, who homered his last time up, extending his hitting streak to 9 in a row. To left, that's extra bases for Machado. He'll go to second with a leadoff double.
The 3rd double of the afternoon for the Orioles. They have 6 hits now.
Time now for our Pat O'Brien Chevrolet play of the game. Jimmy Paredes in the 3rd with a runner in scoring position and 2 outs. 12 for 18 on the year in those situations now with that 2-run homer.
Yeah, we knew it. This guy is the best in baseball when it comes to that department, and boy, he just added to it today. Better hitter from the left side of the plate as Paredes is a .330 hitter, 265, although he did get a double the other night from the right side of the plate.
And he hit it the same spot he hit it when he was batting right-handed.
Yes, that's right. Right center field.
Yeah. It's off the glove of Gomes. Down the 3rd goes Machado.
Well, it's a wild pitch, but it doesn't hit the dirt. That's just a misplay. That's got to be a pass ball, doesn't it, on Gomes?
I think so, yeah.
No question. I mean, I don't know if he was crossed up. I didn't see him run back out there and talk to him, so he just flat out missed it.
Infield in, and a foul right back by Paredes. Just missed. And a full count. Adam Jones is next. And it's close, but ball 4. So a double and a walk. Now up comes Adam Jones. Do they go to Jeff Manship here? Yes, indeed. Terry Francona walks to the diamond. He'll head to the mound. And he'll make the move for right-hander Jeff Manship to come on and face Adam Jones. With runners at first and third and nobody out here in the 8th inning. And the Indians trailing it 4-0. It is a 4-0 Baltimore lead. They've got runners first, third, nobody out. Adam Jones will be the hitter. And the Indians pitcher will be Jeff Manship.
Manship, 4 innings, 3 strikeouts, covering a couple of games.
He's given up 1 hit in 11 at-bats.
He's done a nice job. Well, he's coming on to the situation first and third here with nobody out, trying to keep it a 4-0 game after Hagedorn put the first 2 on base. A double. They called the wild pitch, although it looked like a pass ball, and then a walk to Paredes brings up Adam Jones.
6 days ago, Manship pitched 3 scoreless innings against Detroit. But he comes into a tough spot here. Infield in. And Adam Jones looks like he's still trying to get his sea legs under him after spending time on the bench nursing a sore right shoulder. Is 0 for 3 today. Pops it up again.
He's been very aggressive, and he has had a tough afternoon.
Brantley makes the catch, and the runner's hold. Got to bring up Chris Davis. Davis doubled to left center in the 6th to drive home the 4th run of the game for Baltimore. White Sox lead the Tigers 4-0. They're in the 8th in Motown. Kansas City in Oakland coming up in about 15 minutes. Minnesota, Milwaukee scoreless. They're in the 6th inning at Miller Park. Fouled up the first base side. Might have got his foot. Missed inside. 2 balls and a strike.
Boy, when you look at this defense and you think there's one out, you've got an opportunity. That whole left side of that infield is wide open because Urshela has to stay at third base because of Machado. And you go ahead and you try to pull everything. You should act like it's batting practice. You just slap a single in the shortstop's hole. You know, it's that simple. There's a run 90 feet away.
Then you see that pitch coming in, and all of a sudden you muscle up and you try to pull it.
It makes
600
no sense.
feet.
I mean, just stay short to it. Take yourself an RBI, and it's good for the team. Instead, you hit into a double play.
Lindor gets the tag, throw to first, double play. Oh, terrific play by the Indians. Rookie shortstop to get out of the inning. But it's still Baltimore 4, Cleveland nothing. Tire Express and Total Car Care coming up next here on Sports Time Ohio. Looking back at our keys to the game, brought to you by Wayside Furniture. Make Jimenez throw strikes. Well, he did. He threw a lot of them. And he went 8 innings, his longest start of the season. And for Trevor Bauer, he was cruising along. He gave up a 2-run homer in the 3rd. And then retire the next 7 in a row before a leadoff homer by Machado in the 6th. They would add a run, and that's been it. So now Brian Mattis will try to finish for Baltimore. The left-hander was converted to a full-time reliever 2 seasons ago. And in each of the last 2 years, he's made over 60 appearances out of the bullpen, with an ERA combined right around 3.5. David Lowe takes over in left field for Steve Pearce. Francisco Lindor 0 for 3 on the day, leads it off for Cleveland and looks at ball 1.
Well, you mentioned that bullpen. Although it was a great start by Jimenez, how good they've been since the end of April. 2.09 ERA, which is the best in the majors.
Strike on the outside corner. Nolan Reimold has also come into the ball game. He's in right field now for Davis. And Lindor looks at a called strike. Up and away, full count. Ubaldo Jimenez, 8 innings, 109 pitches, 7 strikeouts, did not walk a batter. Ball 4. The Indians get their leadoff man aboard as Lindor will go down to first. Our AT&T U-verse rewind. Michael Brantley, soft serve in the left, first time up. And then he lined one to left his last time up. Off-speed pitch, drops in for a strike. Even though it's a 4-0 lead and the Indians only had 4 hits coming into this 9th inning, Buck Showalter has double barrel action in the pen. He's not taking any chances. One ball, one strike. Up and in, excuse me.
Well, he's all over the place. Right now, you walk the leadoff man. The last thing you want to see after the start that Jimenez gives you, didn't walk anybody, but they're giving up some free base runners. So he's missed with 6 of his first 9 pitches.
Brantley goes after the 2-1, pops it out of play. That was the Orioles closer. It was the left-hander Zach Britton in the pen getting loose. Brantley strikes out, 1 away.
Well, he comes back to get Brantley on a well-spotted fastball. Down and away. He's a little tardy on it. Tough to pick that pitch up, but Mattis gets his first strikeout.
Ryan Rayburn will pinch hit for David Murphy. One on, one out here in the ninth. Rayburn this year, .299 hitter. And he's 5 for 16 as a pinch hitter with 8 runs batted in. And it looks like Buck Showalter will make a corresponding move. He'll go to the right-hander who was up alongside the closer Britton in the bullpen. That's Chaz Rowe. So timeout in the ninth. 1 on, 1 out. Baltimore leading it 4-0. Did you hear that?
I sure did. Oh, he's beautiful.
Baltimore has a fan here who serves as a sort of secondary public address announcer to those within shouting distance.
And we happen to be right above him.
We're within distance. Chaz Rowe delivers outside ball one to Ryan Rayburn. Chaz Rowe has stranded all 11 inherited runners so far this year. He's got one coming into today's game.
Well, and he's probably here just for maybe one hitter because you got the closer out there up getting loose. Britton.
Missed outside. And it's 3-0. Yeah, one more base runner and it's a save situation. You'd have the tying run and on deck.
Yes, you would.
Bullseye. Missed inside, and it's ball four. So 2 walks in the inning. We've talked before about the Indians and how the walk has been a very effective tool for them offensively. And with 2 on and 1 out, Carlos Santana will be the batter. And this will be the last guy for Chaz Rowe. We got the left-handed hitting Brandon Moss on deck and the closer Britton ready in the Baltimore bullpen. Pops the first pitch up. Lazy fly to left. Or to center. 2 down. I understand if you see a guy walk somebody late in the game, you think he's coming in with something, a get me over pitch to get ahead quick, but you think you'd put a better swing on it if that's the pitch you're sitting on there.
Here's a guy that's supposed to be patient a lot of times. You don't see him swing a lot of first pitches after you walk a guy, and then you come back and swing at that first pitch and pop out.
Well, Chaz Rowe will stay on to face Moss, who drives one high in the air to right field, but it's playable for Reimer. And makes the catch, and this game is over. The Baltimore Orioles get their 5,000th win in franchise history. 4-0 over the Tribe. They go to 40-34 on the year. The Indians fall to 33-40. Baltimore has won the first 2 and a chance to sweep now in the nightcap later on. Ubaldo Jimenez gets the win. He goes to 7-3. The loser is Trevor Bauer. He falls to 6-5 on the year. 4-0 is the